Hello, and you're very welcome to the Women's Rugby Pod, episode 163. She's back. It's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone can sleep easy. Sunter is back from her travels to New Zealand. How are you, Sunter?
Yeah, very well. Good to be back home. I think I've just about managed to get back to UK time. But yeah, no, it's been a great, I say few weeks, but actually 12 weeks we've been in camp pretty much together. It's a long time. I thought those days were gone, but no, they're not.
It's flown by. It's flown by, clearly. Big old pod this week. We're going to concentrate on the PWR, the women's top league here in England. It's been rebranded, got the umbilical cord somewhat to the RFU, out by itself and on a full broadcast as well in TNT, which is the BT Sport. We've got Belinda Moore, CEO of PWR, coming on the pod later on. And that wasn't enough. We are going to have the best player on the planet on the pod, Marlie Packer. But first, Sunter, nice to be back in New Zealand. Different role. How different was it?
Yeah, completely different. Like chalk and cheese. It was really good. I've probably never been challenged or as uncomfortable. I was going to say 4 weeks, probably the last 12 weeks as I have ever been. I think it's probably one of the, quite possibly the hardest things for a number of different reasons that I've probably ever done. It certainly wasn't something I'd planned when I was saying goodbye in Newcastle just a few months ago. But here we are. It's character building, and I've learned a lot about myself and about rugby, and I've actually really enjoyed it.
Brilliant. The results we'll talk about in just a second, the performance of the England team. But have you enjoyed being out of your comfort zone? Because, yeah, when you clock up 478 caps, I guess, you know, that routine of doing that, you're very used to it. But actually, the role changed somewhat, and you're coaching players literally weeks past having packed down with them. Did you enjoy feeling uncomfortable for best part of 3 months?
I think at times no, but that's the thing about being uncomfortable. But we've got a saying about you've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And as the weeks went on, I tried to be more comfortable feeling out of my comfort zone. And I did really enjoy it. I wasn't sure at first, obviously, how it was going to pan out. You know, like you say, having recently just finished playing with a lot of the girls and some of my really good friends, how that was going to go down coaching. It was obviously a different role to the one I signed up for. And then obviously you take into account around the fact that the staff I was working with, I was once a player to them. So there was a lot of different relationships to work through. And then I guess get a grasp of how the Red Roses were going to defend and trying to implement a defensive strategy and plan. And as Mo kindly pointed out when I told her what my role was going to be in the build up to WXB, she went, "Oh, well, no easier job than going against the best teams in the world." And I was like, "Thanks, Mo. That's really comforting and reassuring. Just what you want your friends to do." So that was also pretty daunting to know you're going in to the best competition. Like in a World Cup, you've obviously got your pool rounds, you've got your quarters, your semis, and your latter big games come towards the end where, boom, we were, even the warm-up games, 2 games against Canada, you know, the third best team in the world. I was like, way to jump straight into it. But, you know, I've learned a lot along the way. Maybe things I wouldn't do, maybe things I would do. Like, yeah. So learning on the job, they call it, don't they?
Something like that. Yeah, absolutely. You can become a politician with those kind of skills. 5 out of 5 in terms of win success with a clipboard and your initials on your tracksuit. I remember pretty sure that was important to you. Marks out of 10 then, Sarah Hunter, for Sarah Hunter as a England assistant coach thus far.
Oh, I'd give myself a solid 5, I reckon.
Not more.
Oh,
In terms of the defensive displays of the team.
no, that's me personally. No, the girls, like, yeah, a solid 8 out of 10. Like, room for improvement. 7, 8, yeah. Like, do you know the best thing for me and the thing I'm most proud of, like having like led the defense for WXV, was not the technical or tactical element of it, because like that's still like learning, and like we've got room to work on, but it was the want to defend. Like, I just think back to the Australia game. We defended for 3 minutes, the last play of the game, and actually the game had gone, but people on our line, like even moments in the Canada game as well, like at times just relentless defense, like not wanting them to cross the line. And same against New Zealand, the game was won with probably 10-15 minutes to go, but this defensive sets, sort of like people are chasing back when they've made a line break to make a tackle, to put their body on the line, and like that's something you want to do. Like, that's not something like you can take them to get better. Like, for me, I was just like, they bought into wanting to defend for England, and I think, like, for me, that's the biggest thing. Like, we can work on the technical and tactical thing, but their mindset to want to do that was just brilliant, I thought.
Watch out, Sean Edwards. Here she comes. In terms of what you were set out before you went to New Zealand as a group of coaches, with Lewis Deacon at the top there, interim head coach, and what you've come out with, 3 victories and inaugural WXV1 trophy, and we mustn't sniff ever at lifting a trophy in a sporting career. It's very special times. Where are you with what you set out to achieve and what you have on and off the field?
We're definitely on that journey, you know. Like, whilst Mitch wasn't there, he certainly had led stuff from top down, in terms of especially the off-field stuff around our culture and our values, and had guided the coaches on what we wanted, I guess, our game cycle to be, how we wanted to play, and being really supportive in that. And yeah, I think Deeks led that immensely well, like on the ground, and you can certainly see how the game we want to play is starting to be embedded. And again, like, all hats off to the players, you know. Excuse me, they fully embraced it. They like got behind it, they bought into it, and they really drove with it. And yeah, I just think that's all credit to them. And like, by no means are we as a team the finished article, but we've certainly made significant strides on building what was already a really, really great Red Roses team. You know, what Mids did, and Deeks and Scott before that, you know, like it's not an evolution. No, it's not a revolution. It's an evolution. It's just adding strings to our bow and what was already like a brilliant team, and the work that they had already done. So yeah, it was in a good place to take on. And yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest things we've started to see it be implemented. And that's what, with 8 weeks preparation, you know, we've now got a big chunk of time to try and work with the players whilst they're at their clubs, and see how they go PWR and build for the Six Nations, where we can get another good go at it.
And still, like, a handful of players, top class players, still to come into that mix, with injuries and what have you. Yeah, because I finished a couple of weeks ago, and we had a look back. Sadia and I, she's great energy, hasn't she, Sadia Kabir? She stepped in admirably for you. Must thank her. What is your favourite moment?
My favourite moment, like from a game.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, my mind's gone completely.
Winning it.
Yeah, winning. Probably the final whistle. I've never been so stressed watching a game as that New Zealand game.
I was going to say the huge amounts of amusement of your reactions in the coaching box. Yeah. Claire Thomas brought it to the attention of the media group that we have, a little WhatsApp group, and yes, we thoroughly enjoyed Coach Cam from the box. How difficult is it then? Because you would have been the one a year ago lifting up the trophy and what have you, and going having a few drinks, and the girls are hiding around corners to scare you and all the rest of it. How difficult has it been to change that, or did you? Because I presume that there needs to be a touch of separation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've tried to be sort of united as a group, staff and players, and do a lot of things together. But I do think there has to be a line, like when you get to like the end of the night. So we obviously had. Do you know what my favourite moment has probably been? Like the change rooms after we've won, like not for any reason, but like the staff and players have come together and celebrated in each other's successes. And I think that's a really important time about how like we've put a real emphasis on that. And the one in New Zealand after the New Zealand game was particularly special. And so we enjoyed that, obviously enjoy the bus back, the singing continues. And then we all went out and had sort of drinks together. And then the girls went on to some probably dodgy Irish bar, as you do, and the coaches went home. And do you know what? One thing was quite nice, not waking up with a hangover to travel 36 hours the next day. So, but yeah, so I guess that's a bit like, I think it's really important to celebrate up to an extent, but then I guess knowing as a player, you probably also want your time to just go and do what players want to do towards the end of the evening.
No, absolutely. Look, one last question on WXV, because as you move into more time in your role, we're going to talk about sort of your coaching, whatever. But I know you don't like throwing individual bouquets, but anyone out in New Zealand just impressed you, whether that be someone who played or didn't play, training, off the field, you were surprised that they're a great games master or whatever, or they're the new Sarah McKenna, whatever it may be.
Jess did a brilliant Halloween night for us. We obviously had this scare night, Jess Breach. But you know what was brilliant? I think there was a really eclectic mix of people that got behind it. So I think there was Jess, Maud, Mowena, Tallinn, Claudia MacDonald. We had Simon Minton, who's our new data analyst, Alan, who's our kit man, and Rory, who's our new videographer. They all got together and put on the best sort of like evening. People would go in and then like this scare maze. So that was pretty cool. And that just shows you, like, I guess, how tight the group was. I think someone was only going to help out for 5 minutes, and then 2 hours later they've put together like this whole activity for Halloween. I was really impressed with the girls that maybe didn't play that much, their attitude to training and helping prepare the team was incredible. Was really, really good, which is difficult when you go out on tour and you maybe don't get as much game time as you'd like, but then they've got a really important job. And how they went about that, I thought was exceptional.
And politically correct as ever, hasn't named one individual person apart from people who made a scare maze. Typical. Look, the lady who led it all, taking your captain's armband, and was also named World Player of the Year, the best player on the planet. Marlie Packer. I caught up with Marlie a little bit earlier on. A huge welcome to the world's best player, Marlie Packer. What a few weeks.
Yeah.
Inaugural captain, WXV1, World Rugby Player of the Year. But I bet the best feeling you've had in the last week or so was when you got home and you got a hug from Oliver. Am I right?
Yeah, it was, to be fair. Just a massive squeeze from him, and, just makes the last 4 weeks being away like worth it when you come home and you get that squeeze and Mummy Pickle, I've missed you. Yeah, so it's been nice. We went down to Yeovil for a day, went on a muddy wet walk with my mum. So it's just nice to actually just spend some quality time with him and my mum. And yeah.
I mean, most people would expect that I would start with a huge congratulations and all the rest of it. You and I have known each other a long time, and of course that goes without saying. But the reason I mention that is because somebody said to me that you'd mentioned to them that that time to win big awards like that and whatever had gone. But actually, last 2-3 seasons, you're playing the best rugby that I've ever seen you play, and I think that has a big link too, Oliver, and some perspective in your life. But huge congratulations. What's it like to be the world's best player?
Yeah, it hasn't really sunk in, to be honest. It's absolutely amazing accolade and one that I'm truly really proud of. And even though I've won it on a personal level and an individual rugby player, but I say I wouldn't have been able to do it without my teammates here at Saracens and also the Red Roses, but not just them as players, but the coaching staff and my own support network away from rugby as well, friends, family. We give up so many sacrifices, which I don't see them as sacrifices to do that, to play and do this sport. And for me, I feel like, being named World Player of the Year on Saturday night, when my manager Harriet told me, like, straight away, I actually started crying because, the emotions of probably the last 4 weeks came out of me, but then probably the last 15 years of being a rugby player probably came out, because there was a time when I thought that actually that accolade would never be mine. And last season, a lot of people said to me, "Oh, we think you're going to win World Player of the Year," and I maybe started to believe it. And then obviously I didn't get named in the nominations, so I kind of thought, well, that's okay, I'll just keep doing me. Didn't really think about it. So this season, when the awards came out for this year's Rugby Awards, I didn't even think about it. So when I was nominated, it was really nice surprise, and yeah, I'm just super chuffed.
So important things like that are important to you. Then you're highly competitive. We all know that, but you're a real people person. It was important to have some sort of personal recognition for the contribution you've given to club and country. Then in rugby.
No, I don't think it was important. Like, obviously, it was one of those ones that, yeah, be loved to have that. I think for me, obviously, it'd be amazing too. But I think a few years ago, I had a conversation with Alex Osterbury about my rugby career, where I'm going. Have I got it in me to keep playing and be at the best of my game? And we talked about different things, different goals, challenges, and best player in the world. Would I ever pick up that accolade? Can I make it to 100 caps? Those kind of things. And I think, I put a real big emphasis on, actually, I wanna reach that milestone of getting 100 caps for England. And, I'm nearly there. And I'll put a lot of work into not just that, but I want to make it to 2025 and play in a home World Cup, because for me, I think there'd be no better feeling in running out at a sold out Twickenham Stadium in a home World Cup. But, there's a lot of rugby to be played from there till now. So, I'm looking forward to just getting back on the pitch here at Saracens at StoneX, and then, see what Six Nations brings along for me.
Wow, I've not heard that publicly before. You're determined to get to 2025.
Yes, yeah. Like,
come on, Marlie.
There's a lot of competition in the back row. Obviously, I feel like
keeping you young.
Yeah, but I love it. Like, I love playing with the new players coming up through. I'm learning from them. They're learning from me, and I think just got to keep your head down and keep working hard. And whatever the coaches decide, they decide, but you just got to keep being true to yourself. And that's what I just keep saying to myself. As long as I'm enjoying it and I've got a smile on my face, which I am, my body's still doing what I want it to do. So just see what happens.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of rugby and a lot of time before now in 2025, but yeah, I definitely would like to be there in 2025.
Good for you and me both. How was WXV for you? Going
Yeah,
back
really
down to New
enjoyed
Zealand,
it.
like as a team, and the performances. Let's touch on that for a moment.
So as a team, I think, we come together at Chester 14, 15 weeks ago now for our pre-season. We decided the game how we were going to play, it changed, how we were going to train, what we were about was going to change. And the girls really bought into that. I really bought into that. Not just the on-field stuff, but the culture off-field. We've had a lot of, obviously, staff change, so actually reintegrating, seeing what they wanted from us as players. And I think we all had a really tough pre-season. We had those 2 warm-up games against Canada where we were trying out our new game plan and how we wanted to play, and then going into WXP, I think overall a really good tournament for us, and showing us where we're at. It's just a stepping stone to where we want to go, but it's really exciting times and just shows the depth of the England squad. The Red Roses, the league is doing massive for us. The depth through the squad is phenomenal, and we're all pushing each other to be our best.
And was it how nice was it? Of course, it was nice to beat New Zealand a year on from losing that final and back down at the air place. Redemption or revenge?
No, it's really hard because a lot of people, the weeks running up to it was going to be it's the grudge match, it's revenge, all of this. But if you take yourself in the group of the Red Roses, it's that we were a new looking side. We had new personnel, both players and staff, and we wanted to go there and put a performance on and show off all the hard work we've done. And I think like the starting team from that World Cup final to the one a few weeks ago was very different. So we needed to make sure we just go there, play each game in how we wanted to set out to play it. But then that New Zealand game was about putting in a performance and not thinking about the past or the future, just being present with it.
I know there's a shift in the way that you're trying to play, and for crudely be more expansive, if we can put it like that. But actually, that little switch of saying actually it's about the performance rather than about the win, because I don't know, you just got the sense, especially towards the end of the last regime, that the wins were all important. Of course, it's World Cups and all the rest of it. But is that a slight shift? Let's look after the performance, and the result will take care of itself.
Yeah, I think so. It's massive. And I think, we had targets throughout the tournament for each game of how we wanted to play. And, then we would look at the game afterwards against those targets that were set by the coaches. So actually, it was probably looking at the game and how we reviewed it a bit differently. But at the end of the day, it is about the win. But I think it's the process of how we get the win. And if the forwards look after the set piece and the backs look after their flow of running rugby, then the win should look after itself.
How do you find captaincy? How odd was it having Sunter, who you've linked arms with and packed down for so many times, hundreds, thousands of times, then her sort of coaching you guys, and her animation in the box has amused us all back here.
I've absolutely loved Sunter being coach, to be honest with you. I don't think she got as much recognition being captain which I ever gave her for it, because there's so much more to being the Red Roses captain than what I ever knew before I took on the armband. And she did an incredible job to do and steer the ship the way she did, but then also to put the performances week in, week out for the Red Roses and for club. Like I said, I really enjoyed her being coach. She's straight talking. She's not going to feed you rubbish. And if you ask her a question and she doesn't have the answer for you, she will make sure she go find out and give you the right information. I think what also worked really well, because she obviously was in the squad and she knew what she wanted more of, information or technical stuff, then now she's delivering that as a coach. There's a lot more stuff going on where before a session starts, the eights are doing ball skills and, you know, just little games, but keeping us ticking over, but enjoying doing what we're doing as well. And, you know, when you see her around camp, you can really see that I think she's really enjoying her role and how she interacts with players, and the players really respect her and actually have quite a lot of laughs with her. I think it's a lot harder work than what she ever anticipated. She's always constantly behind a laptop being busy, but, you know, from me, she's a godsend, because anytime I need to go to ask her a question, or what did you do if this occurred, or, you know, just a sounding pillow, basically, just to check I'm doing all right and making right decisions when I'm needed.
Awesome. We'll add that title to her long list. Dame Sarah Hunter, the sound pillow. Awesome. Just quickly, PWR starts this weekend. We've got Belinda Moore coming on the pod later on to discuss it all. But just from a Saracens perspective, yeah, it's cut away from the RFU. It's out by itself. Time has been short to get everything arranged, but being on TNT and those kind of advancements and the way that the season is being presented slightly differently, it's all incredibly positive, isn't it, for an old hand in this league?
Oh yeah, it's amazing to be on TNT. Just the way the league is growing, coming away from the RFU, is just incredible, and I just think it shows where the women's game is going, and that's up. It has for the last few years as well, and to be a part of that, but then actually now to take on this next challenge, this league is a phenomenal league to be a part of, and the standards are always going up, and you see that by how many other nations players that want to come and play in our league. I think it's going to be the best. This season's going to be the best season that we've had yet today, just because I think it's going to be so competitive. Obviously, really sad news to lose Worcester early on like we have. And, you know, my heart goes out to all those players, but all the backroom staff and all the people that put so much work into to getting Worcester to where it was, and then obviously being pulled from underneath them. But apart from that, as the league goes, it's going to be really exciting. And I think, you know, the fact of Tigers coming in, then we've got Trailfinders, and then, you know, Gloucester reigning champions, Bristol have obviously recruited well, Sarries I think have recruited well as well. So, you know, it's going to be really good, and something that I'm really looking forward to being a part of, and, you know, playing my part of hopefully inspiring future generations to come play for us.
Just finally, you've got Loughborough, who've had a sort of a clear out, for want of a better expression, freshen things up. I heard one player got a little stale, and they're training well. They're looking forward to opening up against you guys. That's 2:30 on Saturday, isn't it? For that one, you'll make light work of Loughborough, won't you?
Hey, you can't make light work of anyone. You've got to turn up and perform, and I think that'd be massive for us this weekend. Obviously, we've had a lot of international players out with WXV, so we've all come back into training this week. So we need to make sure actually that we make sure we know we're looking after what we're doing on the pitch, and not worrying about Loughborough, but we do know it is a new look side, Loughborough. So actually, we've got to make sure we turn up and perform this weekend. You've
got Sophie de Goody. The title is yours. Simple as that. You've got Sophie de Goody and the world's best player in Marlie Packer.
Yeah, no, we've recruited well, and also like the players that are standing from last season as well. Look, we got to that top 4 finish. We didn't get to the final this year for the first time in a fair few years. But you know what we do know is that we've learned from that, and we're putting it into this season.
Marlie, I'd love to talk to you all day long as ever, but huge congratulations. Thoroughly deserved on World Player of the Year, and fine captaincy out in New Zealand lifting the inaugural WXV1 title. Always a pleasure, and we'll see you on the touchline very soon.
See you soon, Johnnie. Take care.
I'm Maud Muir, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
She's brilliant, Marlie Packer, and I made that point about Oliver, because 3-4 years ago, 5 years ago, you couldn't see her doing what she's doing now. And I don't know, just changed her perspective slightly, I think. And being a parent myself, it does completely change your perspective. But she is playing. I mean, how gnarly was she against New Zealand? You just don't want to get in her way. And what a brilliant talent. She impressed you as captain out in New Zealand?
Yeah, she certainly has. She's. I think you're right. Like, I think obviously having Oliver, and I think just getting older, you probably mature, you get a bit wiser, and she's definitely grown into that leadership role. You know, a brand new leadership group as well, and how they've all collectively work together is it's been great to see. And I guess Marlie's the old timer in that group, in terms of, I guess you're still missing your likes of your Abby Wards and your Emily Scarretts who have obviously not been around for this competition. And yeah, Marlie's just sort of own that area, and it's been great to see. And she does a brilliant job, and she doesn't need any help or support, because like what she thinks and what she says are the right things. And I just try to say to like trust her instinct, like, because it's actually really good. And then if she hasn't needed anything, you know, I want her to grow into the captain that she is so brilliant at. But if there's anything, then she knows there's always a place to come in and grab. I should say coffee, but she doesn't like a coffee, probably a Red Bull or a hot chocolate or something. But yeah, like I'm always there if she needs some, but I also want to give her that space to grow into, because she's a phenomenal leader, and she's been doing a great job, and she'll go on to grow into even more as she's given that opportunity to as well.
And I just love that she's so competitive. She's now got 2-3 people absolutely nipping at her heels to get that number 7 shirt, who are out and out sevens as well, and it's just spurring her on to play even better. It's brilliant for the Red Roses.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think if you look now across the board, like in all positions, but especially in that seven shirt, but I think that generally motivates her to want to stay at the top. And I think when you've been around a long time, like that's what you do need to stay. Like, not that Marlie's ever been complacent, but actually having someone who absolutely wants to take that shirt, like you go one or two ways. It spurs you on, you thrive in that competition, and you come out the other side, or you don't. But I can guarantee Marlie's not that person. Like you said, on that pitch, she's the most competitive like player that you'll see, always striving to be better, always striving to be the best that she can be, especially in a white shirt. And she'll put her head and go places where people won't go. She'll get into the opposition and get niggly, and just create a great player by doing so.
Let's turn our attentions to the PWR, which starts this weekend. Shortly be joined by Belinda Moore, CEO of PWR. But let's just take you through the fixtures this weekend. All starts on Saturday. Bristol against Sale, 2:30. That's live on TNT Sports here in the UK. 2:30, Saracens against Loughborough Lightning. 3:00, Ealing Trailfinders against Harlequins. And then on Sunday, it is Leicester against Exeter. Gloucester Hartpury have the bye this week. Belinda, thank you so much for joining us on what is an incredibly busy week. Hugely exciting week. We have a little media group, a WhatsApp group, and ping, 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 ping all week, which I think is a very, very good sign. I'm just a reader rather than a poster, but it's a very, very good sign. Let's pretend nobody's ever heard of PWR before on the podcast. It's hopefully not the case with this podcast. But what's the vision behind the PWR?
I think it goes back to why it was set up in the first place. You know, the intention behind it is ultimately to grow that pathway for Red Roses and to have the most successful Red Roses team that we can possibly create. But I think along the way, we want to make sure we've got a really competitive, really exciting, really vibrant domestic club game that is the best in the world.
Can you quite believe how far you've got in the space of time that you've had to put this together? The smile says it all.
Yeah. Well, yes and no, thank you. Yes and no is the answer. I mean, I knew when I took the job, we'd got 9 months or 10 months till the first fixture. We knew we'd got an enormous mountain to climb. We took control of the business on the 1st of July. It's been extraordinary, and I think the amount of legal and governance probably has been more than we anticipated. But just trying to get everything else done in the same window of time has just been really, really busy. I mean, even really dull things like trying to set up a bank account. Unbelievably complicated. You wouldn't think, would you? But all sorts of silly things like that. Find an office, set up a bank account, get VAT registered. I mean, just all sorts of really mundane, everyday things. A bit like moving house, really. Redirect your post, that sort of thing. But there's been an enormous amount to do, and the team, we're a really small core team, but they have shifted mountains in the last few months.
You just don't think about those kind of things, do you? What was first? What was first on the list?
Well, as I started employee number 1, I thought employees 2, 3, and 4 were probably quite a good place to start. So building a team was quite a key place to get us all together. And we've now got a really good little core team. There's 6 of us plus a couple of consultants. And we're getting everything done. But I think that was a key priority. The TV deal, which we just announced, was a massive priority for me. My background is in broadcast originally, and I think that visibility and exposure and regular appointment to view TV, it makes such a difference from a commercial point of view and from a fan engagement point of view. We've announced, we've announced the deal with TNT. We're also still talking to free-to-air broadcasters. We're still looking at the streaming options. There's still lots and lots of work going on, but time is ticking away every day. So we're just trying to get everything done in a very short window of time.
It's huge, isn't it, from a player and coach's point of view, to have that level of broadcast, not only sort of on a big platform that televises all the men's games, whether it's club games, whether that be international, European or domestically, but to have on that level, and then a production company behind, which I know the guys personally involved in it are proper broadcasters. It's going to be massive for the players. Is there a buzz around them?
I just say I think it's huge. When it got announced, you just saw how much it just went off in terms of everyone. Like, we found out when we were in New Zealand and the buzz around the players and what that meant. And I guess about how it's not about time, but it's something we've been crying after for a long time, that the quality of broadcast matches the quality of product that the girls are putting out week in, week out. And for me, it wasn't just the players. Like, clubs got behind it, people associated with the game got behind it, and it was just it just virally went massive on social media because of just how huge the statement is, and the fact, like you said, Johnny, it's the broadcaster that does the men's team. So again, it's that almost that parity of like men and women being showcased on an equal platform and given, I guess, the same attention around the quality of product that's put out there. And there's some real excitement there from everyone, I guess, on the ground that's involved with rugby. And it's all like hats off to you, Belinda, and your team for, again, like just listening to what you've said in the short turnaround of like how the game and the league's looking in a matter of months is like all credit to, I guess, the endless amount of hours and meetings and everything you've done. Like, I know the players in New Zealand were really excited to get back to their clubs, to be part of this new PWR league, and as much as they've played some high intensity rugby over the last few months, they all want to get back out there and want to be, I guess, part of the best league that there is, again, which is credit to, again, the product the league is creating as well. And that's not just down to a broadcast deal, that's down to, I guess, how your team has made this new league look.
Because I was
going to say, Johnny, it's great to hear that the players are excited, because I think for me, that's something that's really important. Putting the players at the heart of what we do is fundamentally important to this. and the fact they are excited for the TV deal, the fact they love the new branding. One of the things I like about working with Matta, who've done a lot of our brand and marketing drive on this, is Flo Williams, who plays for Sarries, it works for them, and that having that player input to things is really important. Getting that player view. We've just set up our athlete forum. We had our first meeting the other day. And we've explained to the players that we want them to be part of the decision-making process. It's a board subcommittee. I want their voice to be heard. I want to make sure they have a chance to review what we're doing, to have their input, and to make sure they get heard in everything we do.
I was just going to ask you, but Belinda, it's just great to hear that from the players, because I know we met up many months ago now, and your vision of having the players at the centre of everything you do, plus the TV deal, you're staying true to that, and that's not always been the case in the Women's League, and that's sensational to hear. This weekend, coming across quickly, big old campaign this week, slightly different this week in terms of a sort of season launch and powering things differently.
Yes, so Power Differently is the campaign for this season, not just for the launch, and I think it came about from a conversation I had with Getty Images about 4 years ago when I was working in men's golf. At the time, it wasn't terribly useful. They were telling me about this amazing shoot they'd done with PSG women when they launched their new kit for the season. And they'd very much given the players a voice in the shoot. And it's one of those things that just stuck with me. And as we were starting, I was at the Army-Navy game at Twickenham, and I was lucky enough to be pitch side for the anthems. And I was looking at the team, and I'm very conscious I have 4 daughters, of all the pressures they face, particularly on social media. And I thought, if you look at a women's 15, you can find yourself in that lineup. The players are all sorts of different shapes and sizes, different diversities, different ethnicities, different sexuality, whatever it might be. There's someone in there that looks and feels like you. And I think in an age where our kids are bombarded, and even young adults and adults themselves are bombarded by this sort of image of what everyone should be, and they should all fit a stereotype. What I love about rugby is that it takes all sorts of people to make a really strong team. And I think if you look at our athletes, you can find someone that looks like you, someone who can be your role model, someone who is amazingly at the top of their game, who's incredibly powerful, who has, in all cases of all the players, has an amazing backstory as to either the job they're holding down the minute or how they came into rugby. And I think turning those players into role models for people is really important. So the Power Differently campaign was intended to show the players as they are and as they want to be portrayed. So we let 10 players loose in a studio with Getty photographers, and it's amazing. Getty crewed the whole thing with women, which was really empowering. We gave them hair and makeup. The stylists had found loads of clothes they really liked. They wanted to keep most of them, which was a bit of a worry. But racks and racks of clothes for them to choose what they want. And they had full control over how they looked, how they wanted to be shot. And then when we'd done all the images, we then played all the images back to them, and they chose the ones that they liked, not the ones that we necessarily wanted, but the ones that they really liked. It's been all about making sure they had a voice at the heart of this. And I think the images we've created, which you'll see tomorrow, are really powerful. They're amazing images. And I love the fact that every single player wanted to do something very different. Some of them are very girly, some of them are very sporty, some of them wanted to take a completely different take on everything. And I love the fact everybody got to be themselves in this. And I think that's really, really important. And I know it's a word used a lot at the minute, but actually that authentic piece about it matters to me. We didn't tell them to stand in a certain way and to be something they're not. And actually the nice thing was we also did a more traditional kit shot at the time, but because it's been shot in a studio with really nice hair and makeup and proper lighting, it's a really strong image. It's a really nice, strong image of the teams in their kit as well, which is the more traditional sort of launch picture. So no, it's been a really fun few weeks.
I'm sure. Belinda, how much buy-in are you having from the clubs and those around? Because it's something that attracted me 20 plus years ago about the women's game, was just everybody understood that they're in this to grow the game for the benefit of the women, and for most of the time to give them what they richly deserve. But that's quite a sea change from how things are potentially from my humble point of view, from how things were run before. How much buy-in have you had from the clubs, hopefully teeing up a nice answer?
The answer is that both the RFU and the clubs are shareholders, so they have a massive stake in this and in us being successful. So, but
doesn't always mean they buy in, though.
I was going to say, but over and above that, they have been incredibly helpful and supportive of what we're doing. everyone's got behind this campaign. I've been around all the clubs and has spent time with them, and everyone's just been really welcoming. I think everyone's really excited to see what we can achieve now as a standalone company, and that difference we can make, particularly as we ladder up to that 25 World Cup, which, you know, we all hope will be, you know, a pivotal moment for the sport in this country.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go back to the television deal before you let it go, because we are days away from the start, and who knows, might see you down at Ashton Gate. That TV deal, it is momentous. We've spoken about being on a men's platform, but that runs through the whole of the season, including the finals and what have you. And as you say, you're still hopefully got some terrestrial conversations going on the sidelines as well.
Yeah, exactly that. It's they're committed to 21 games this season. We're also a minimum of 21 games this season. There's a couple of other little things we're working on, but I can't tell you about them quite yet. But I'd love to come back on in a few weeks' time and share them. But yeah, we've got a couple of things we're working on, which might perhaps see an extra game or two here or there. But it's they're there for the season. It's a multi-year deal, so they're in for the long haul as well, which is great news. And as you say, I think it's that visibility for the sport which becomes really, really important. But yeah, we're still having other conversations too, and there's lots of other things we can achieve. There'll be regular highlights every week on YouTube. There'll be regular features. There'll be regular content on our digital channels. We're working really closely with IMG Digital on that. So lots and lots of good things going on, and lots of exciting things to come.
It is. I'm like a kid on Christmas Eve. No, genuinely. You know, I remember when we first put women's rugby, a league game on television. We did the first final, the first playoff, the first Tyrrells. You know, and it's that feeling again, because it's it's very exciting, and I think having a broadcast partner, and that's a really important word in this, is that they have a responsibility to grow the game as well. And you see it with the Heineken Cup that has been split between broadcasters now. It just isn't the powerhouse that it used to be when it was on one channel. And I know the guys behind it are in great form. What are you most looking forward to this season, Belinda? The final whistle of the final.
Actually, that'd be nice. I keep telling everyone it's going to calm down in a minute, but I'm not sure it ever is. I think just seeing all the last 6 months or so of hard work coming together, I think this weekend will be really, really exciting. There's still lots to achieve. You know, we have a lot to still do and lots we want to do. But I think we're getting off to a pretty good start, and it can only grow from there. So I'm pretty excited.
Extraordinary. And you're still chairman of Women's Rugby at Richmond as well?
Wimbledon Rugby Club, I think you'll find. Sarah's coming to our lunch on.
I do apologise.
And also, don't big me up too much. Just director of girls rugby.
Just of girls rugby. I did know that as well. Yeah, of course I did. It was Wimbledon.
That's all right. It's all good. But yeah.
Just throw that on the plate as well.
Grounded in some reality, I think, is the answer to that bit.
Belinda, thank you so much for coming on and joining us. I know you're incredibly busy. I really appreciate it. And whatever we can do to help and promote whatever, then please just give us a shout. You know where we are.
It's an absolute pleasure. I look forward to seeing you soon.
I'm Rachel Taylor, and you're listening to the Women's Rugby Pod.
Great to have Belinda on the pod, Sarah Hunter. Change needed to happen, and I think we probably all agree that the TNT deal with a production company behind it in Buzz 16 that could be a complete game changer for the league.
Oh, it's huge. I think it's something we've been crying out for a few years now, and to have a broadcast deal with partners such as TNT and Buzz 16 is like unbelievable. You look at what they do week in, week out for the men's game, and to know that same quality is going to be applied to the women's game is huge. I think it'll make people want to tune in and watch, and do you know what? It'll showcase the quality of the game, which is exactly what it warrants and deserves. So yeah, it's a big plus from me, and I'm sure it will open up to a new audience, which is exactly what we're about.
Yeah, and first impressions do matter, and it's bang on for quite some time about that. It's the floating voters we need to get in, and the better it looks, then you're going to attract those people. It's as simple as that. And this is going to be a real game changer for the league. All kicks off Saturday lunchtime at Ashton Gate, Bristol against Sale. Bristol will be strong again this season, and Sale have certainly strengthened their ranks as well.
Yeah, they have. You've seen the likes of Holly Aitchison and Hannah Bottoman from the Red Roses tune in to Bristol. And then obviously Sale have recruited hard. Moana Talon's gone up there in the Red Roses. She had an absolutely incredible WXV tournament as well. They've recruited strong throughout all the other nations. So hopefully it's good things to come from Sale. They had their best ever finish last year, and hopefully under the stewardship of Rachel Taylor and Katie Daly-McLean, they'll be going on to good things this season.
And Beatrice Rigoni, what a superstar, world superstar.
Yeah. How did I forget that? Unbelievable.
Slipped under the radar. Saracens against Loughborough Lightning, Harper 2 on Saturday afternoon. Sarries weren't in the final. Sophie de Goody's gone there. Again, world-class talents. We just spoke about Beatrice Rigoni, but these are literally world 15 players that are being attracted to this league. She'll add a little something to Sarries. Yeah,
she certainly will. She performed again really, really well, and probably unlucky not to be in World Team of the Year.
Yep.
So she obviously was here 2 seasons ago and took the league by storm then as well. So I've got no doubt she will be on top form, whether that's running, kicking, I don't know, like doing things Sophie de Good only does in a game. It'd be great to see, like Belinda says, we want this to be the best league in the world. And yes, we're about growing Red Roses players, and that will come through the EQP of the league. But having a little bit of stardust sprinkled on top is always a great thing, because it will make the Red Roses play better, because they'll be challenged in different ways. So it'd be good to see her back in the league.
Yeah, and she's about to finish her studies, and she played some university rugby that she wanted to do, and she's just a great human being. Your old team, Loughborough Lightning, bit of a sort of changing of the guard. New coach Sardia says that they're training really, really well, and plenty of Scottish internationals within that squad. They'll be buoyed by their victory in WXV2. They'll, I think they might. Sardia said, I think they're going to surprise quite a few this season.
Yeah, definitely. New change there, new coaching, and from what the girls have said, they're really enjoying that. And I think there's, whilst they've got their internationals back, I think their youngsters have had a good cup run and got some good game time. And I think there's a real emphasis on giving them an opportunity, and it'll be really interesting to see how it all blends and mixes together. But having obviously been there for the last couple of years, I think, and having probably a couple of frustrating seasons, that the talent's always been there. So it would be really good to see if they come with the results that their potential suggests that they can reach. And it'll certainly be a rebuilding year for them, and excited to see what they can do.
Yeah, 100%. Ealing Trailfinders, just Trailfinders I struggle with. Just, you need a bit where you're from. Anyway, Ealing Trailfinders against Harlequins, Saturday afternoon. Again, it coincided a bit of transition. Ealing, Giselle Mather, plenty of 7 stars within that squad, and quite a lot of those girls that used to play at Wasps. They certainly won't be a pushover.
No, not at all. And there's one thing for sure, like they'll be well coached. They'll probably play with a lot of ambition. That's what Giselle's teams are made up of. And when you've got the likes of Abby Dow in your team, anything can happen. But it'll be interesting to see how much the Sevens girls will play. Obviously, they're going into Dubai in a few weeks' time, and they're in their Olympic year, so that'll be an interesting journey to see what that happens. And they've got a lot of international sprinkled in there. Tyson Bookboom, she's or Bookerbum, she's there, and they've also, from what I've seen, if social media is anything to go by, they've added to their team through unfortunate happenings of Worcester. They've got 4 or 5 players, I think, now from Worcester that have gone there. So Ellie Green, I saw Ellie Green in a pre-season training game for Worcester, and she's obviously had a couple of, I guess, frustrating seasons at Quins, but she looked to be in good form, to be fair to her. It was good to see her back in sort of those earlier days when it was this up-and-coming young player. So I'm pleased that she's found a club, and I'm pleased for the other Worcester girls that they found somewhere to go and hopefully get their season underway.
Yeah, and Berth's still doing it. Her 278th pre-season she just finished off. Jay Cockle Roberts there as well. Connie Powell's gone there to fill the void left by Emmy Kane, who's gone up to Leicestershire. Harlequins, personally, I think if they make those playoffs, I think they'll be doing well. Emily Scott is always an excellent competitor for them, and yeah, they always do pride themselves on bringing on lots of young local talent.
Yeah, again, I think it's always hard until everyone's back. Obviously, Sarah Bonner's there. Baba Lachwa's there. They've got the South African 8 who's gone there. Shauna Brown's back out of retirement. So, it'll be really interesting to see how they go. I think their Aussie girls are going back as well. So again, they've got the foundations and making of a really great team. So it'll be interesting to see how they get going with that. It's just like you worry about the depth, so like outside of maybe that 15 to 20 players, what sits beyond there. But some of the young players that they do have through their centre of excellence coming through is really exciting. So hopefully the cup run has blooded those to get some experience for the league. So it's a great way to start a local derby, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it really is. The Takeoff, I believe they're billing out. You see what they've done there with Trailfinders.
I see what they've done.
Oh, it's brilliant, honestly. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think 2 of the 3 Australians come back. Bella McKenzie, the 12, obviously Caitlin Neely in second row. Not sure about Emily Chancellor in the back.
I don't think she's coming back.
Anyway, and then Sunday, I should say, Leicester against Exeter. Just that sort of tag of bridesmaids is just moving towards Susie Appleby and Exeter. They'll be very keen to go one better this year up against another new team. How do you see Leicester? Leicester will be competitive as Ealing?
They've made some they've got a few Scottish girls that have gone there. They've got Fran McGee. Is it Fran McGee?
Yeah.
Who's like, if you get her the ball, Meg Jones, she can do unbelievable things with or without the ball, if I'm completely honest with you. So I think it's going to be certainly a year where they are learning about themselves, how they want to play. They're building a team. They've got some Americans on there. So I think it's hard when you start on a team like they have done from scratch in the last couple of years, and playing in the Championship is very different to playing in the Premiership. So and obviously they'll have Amy Cockayne coming in at some point, which will strengthen obviously their set piece, which is really fundamental, because you say they've got some good backs, but you need to be able to get the ball to them. So yeah, I think they're very realistic around like this. And I guess where the PWR, it's not a 3-year like like franchise, and then you see whether you're going to. Teams are in for the long haul, so actually, it gives them opportunity to build and develop and to start growing some of their own players and seeing how they build. But it's a pretty tough opener against Exeter for them to start with. But they've got the head coach that's been at Cheltenham and won there, Rochelle Clark, Rocky Clark. That was quite formal, Rochelle Clark, who's got plenty of experience, and Luke Stratford as well. So who's played championship rugby, coached before, and knows how to get a set of forwards moving around. So they've got good people in place to develop the players.
The key for me was that Amy Cockayne, because as you can, possibly not the kind of character to sort of build stuff around. You know, she's pretty laid back, isn't she? Shuffling along with her Crocs and what have you. But an incredible competitive beast when she gets on the field. But certainly someone you can build your game around, as you say, that set piece. We did mention Kate Zachary, of course, Ealing, a little bit like Ellie Green. You can actually base your team around people like this. Two really astute signings, and Meg Jones, similarly, I know we're bouncing backwards and forwards, but Leicester, really strong impression on where the game should be played, and an influential character. I know she was part of the sort of leadership group out in New Zealand.
Yeah, she understands the game, and you know what? Having Amy and Meg on board, they'll drive the group. They're really like the standards that they want to play with and want people to buy into. Like, you've got two really great people to drive that. Like, they're both born competitors. They certainly haven't gone there to make the numbers up. They want that Leicester team to succeed, and I think they've definitely bought into the long-term vision, and seeing where that will go for them. But yeah, like, I think it's like a means of the intent of where Tigers are, that they've got two great players in Amy Cockayne and Meg Jones on their books.
Yeah, great way to start against Exeter on Sunday. That's about it. Sunter, it's great to have you back. I mean, quite a few awards, and quite rightly thrown your way. What was the latest one this week? What ceremonial sword will we pick up this week?
So Sports Newcastle have a sports awards ceremony every year, and they give out different awards, and I was lucky enough to win the Lifetime Achievement Award, which is Wilkinson. Was presented from Wilkinson Sword, the actual, the people that make the razors and stuff. And it's got some pretty cool names on there, if I'm honest. But yeah, I feel very honoured.
Go on, who else?
Alan Shearer, Bobby Robson, Jackie Milburn. Wow. Yeah. So just to name a few. To be honest, people are busy. Who are they? But they're legends of sport, but they're also all from Newcastle. So.
No, I'm not a football fan. I was giving it the Shearer celebration.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of Shearer, so yeah, to be on the same sword as him, let's be careful.
Yeah.
What an absolute honour. Fantastic. And then you're presumably going to a PWR game at the weekend? I
am, yes. We're all out watching games this weekend, which is brilliant. We've got a club watch program, so we'll all be at one every week.
Wow, there you are. Well, you're obviously keeping that very close to your chest, so I will potentially see you at Bristol or not. Very truly honoured, as I said to Belinda. Yeah, do feel rather excited to have been asked to open the coverage on TNT of Bristol against Sale at the weekend. Yes, as I say, I remember many moons ago, Bristol. Who was it? Richmond against Saracens in a final, and Emma Croker was on fire that night. Richmond stuffed Saracens all those years ago. Anyway, another first, and it's absolutely brilliant. And it's been absolutely brilliant to have you back on the pod alongside. Lovely to catch up with you, Sunter. Many congratulations, and I hope you can have a bit of slipper time and put your feet up and have a Horlicks.
Well, my slippers are on, but there's no feet up time. It's all things go of reviewing and then planning for the future.
Well, you chose it. Nobody forced you, and we couldn't do without you anyway. So there you are. We see you next week. Everybody enjoy the PWR